And we are started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Q&A podcast. You're here with myself, Tom, and Ian.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about some light things this month, and going over some Q&As that we've had in the game forum. I suspect everyone is really happy. Everyone is waiting for Easter, and they're wondering if there is an Easter event. So I'm going to just start off the bat with that. Catch Ian off guard. Ian, I already know the answer, but are we having an Easter event?
Yeah, it will start Friday.
Okay, there you go. For everyone who wants to know, Easter event starts Friday. That is obviously Friday the 29th. Yes.
Yeah.
We are not going to share details on the Easter event, so you'll all have to be thoroughly excited for that to happen. Just off the bat, Ian, is there any topics that you want to go over or anything like that?
No, I mean, Next Gen's been pretty quiet. We've had a lot to do this month on Legacy.
With it being a new round and such.
Yeah, it's also... It feels like it's a really short month, but...
I've just come out of February.
31 days in it. Yeah.
But it's also been a busy month. Busy month. But with that said, there's been a lot of Q&A, questions that people wanted to ask. There are concerns in the game regarding, balancing. Ian and I have constantly trying to balance everything, and it's evidently clear that we have been taking steps in the wrong direction that players have been vocal about, and we are taking these suggestions on board. But please understand that things aren't going to happen overnight. So we're not going to buff something where it's going to become overpowered. We're going to update something, see how it does, see if it needs more. If it needs more, we're going to update it more again. Because obviously when we do get feedback, we do have to take it with a pinch of salt. Because people, I've played games, we've all played games, and I'll be like, oh, this needs buffing, and then it can be the other end of the spectrum where it gets absolutely overpowered, and it's then not fun in a different way. So starting out, I'm going to go to the game forum. Also, I apologize in advance. I am a bit ill, so if I'm nasally or taking breaks, just bear with me. So, off the bat, the first question that we got in, or set of questions, sorry, is from Prince of Hell. Can we get an update on the recent Discord discussed ban wave? I don't know. I probably was part of this conversation, but there's a lot of conversations that happens during Discord. Ian, does it ring a bell to you?
It doesn't.
Okay. I assume, because I want to give an answer, that's the whole point of the Q&A. I assume what they're talking about is there was some discussions that floated around regarding... what was it? There were basically a bunch of players that were cheating, and we did come out and confirm this, but obviously we can't speak about whom. And so thus, yes, there was a ban wave, and when we do ban people, we don't really publicize it. And this is always a thing that there's a lot of finger pointing. I'm sure you can agree, Ian. And
oh yeah,
we do investigate everything that's ever sent to us, even if it's a repeat person going, hey, can you check into this person again? Oh, Von is ban wave coming. It's you, Ian. It's your topic.
Shit, it is me. Carry on with what you're saying. I'll go over the ban wave after.
Basically it's we check into everyone, we do our due diligence, and if there's no evidence that suggests that they are cheating, they're not going to get banned, because the last thing we want to do is ban people who are just trying to play the game and might just play it really well. Like, it's just one of those things. Have you caught up with your thought process now, Ian? I don't know what else I can talk about the ban wave on.
Yeah. So we did ban a few people, but it's primarily people that are scripting more than anything. We can't really go into details as to how. We're also not going to really discuss kind of anything more on it, because we, as Tom just said, we don't really discuss bans.
Yep.
But yeah, we generally do it in waves. It means we can collect data, improve the anti-cheat, and then, yeah, it's like a cycle. It's better than we sometimes detect scripters almost instantly, but there's really no point in banning them instantly, mainly because they'll just change their ways.
Yeah, right? They'll test the scripts and then be like, "Oh, well, that's what I got banned for. I've not been banned this time." Like, it's something other games do too. They won't just ban people straight off the bat.
Yeah, VAC, for instance, it gets a lot of flack because it doesn't instantly ban people with known cheats. Well, it does with some known cheats, but most of the time they do it in waves, generally because they don't want to give cheaters kind of the advantage. So,
exactly. Moving on. What were the reasons behind increasing adrenaline price, and why is jail from the previous round now updated, making adrenaline almost useless? So the price was increased because it was pretty cheap for what it was doing. So we've increased it. We have had the issues with jail time regarding crimes being hurting the community more than anything. So that is something that we are going to be buffing. And so on the next set of patch notes there, you'll probably read it there. But I can't see adrenaline price decreasing at the moment. But yeah, regarding the jail time, that's going to be changing because we don't want you to go into jail as much as you have been.
Well, the thing was, there was a bug between last round and the previous round, and that bug was basically fixed, and that made you go to jail, because before, like the entirety of last round, it seems that you wouldn't actually be able to go to jail, which I don't know whether you find that good or bad, but that's a bug. Like, I don't know how to explain it. So why is jail from the previous round now updated? Because it was a bug fix that just never got caught. And funnily enough, nobody pointed it out.
Why
I
would
also
they?
didn't ever go in jail, and I should have noticed. So yeah, that's why the jail is now used.
Yeah.
Go
on.
Yeah, that's. I was just going to move on to the next one, the hotwire.
Yeah. You want to read it out?
Yeah, we see a bit of use in the hotwire tool. We basically want it to be. We don't want everyone to have sort of a use for it. Like, some people will and some people won't. If we lower the price too much, then it just becomes you'll just do infinite auto thefts,
and like also,
which case causes a huge amount of cars to come in, which means a ton of bullets being made and stuff like that. So we're going to look into it. We might decrease the price.
It's a new feature fundamentally, really, isn't it? So things can change and they will change. But the way we saw it was early on, the hotwire kit is going to be quite powerful when you just you make a new account, purely for the fact of the first couple of auto thefts kind of affect your percentage of stealing the next car. So the moment you can get into a better routine of stealing cars and being successful when doing that, then you're not going to use the carjacker as much because you don't really need to. Like, you got your reward, you got the car. It's like using adrenaline on crimes. People use adrenaline on crimes to unlock all the crimes.
Yep.
So there's another comment. I really like Gad's suggestion on gaining a percentage of cash on hand from kill, and I have also suggested similar in the past, as it makes killing much more worth it. I think gaining some inventory items and cars would make it much more attractive. So this is probably going to be a thing that I'm going to mention multiple times today. And it's something that I've mentioned multiple times in DMs when people have been reaching out to me, being like, I've got suggestions. And suggestions are great. We love, love, love suggestions, as long as, they're being civil and they're not just adding flame to a fire. But right now, we want to focus on next gen. We're fine to do some balancing here and there for legacy, but next gen is our focus. And so we'll balance things, but a whole new features or things currently for legacy, I don't want to say they're not going to have things in legacy that we might add or might not add, but for the most part, it's probably going to be all right, let's hold on to that idea for next gen and implement it there. So, yeah. Ian, anything to add?
No, pretty much it. I mean, there's always been a chance of getting cash and bullets from a person when you kill them. It's just a really low % chance. Honestly, it might be worth. Yeah, you can also get a free kill. It's been in there forever.
I know about the free kill. I didn't know about the cash.
Yeah, it's something like a 5% chance or something for cash and bullets.
Oh, okay.
Cash or bullets. Or, I guess. But yeah, maybe that'll be worth adding in the next patch. It's a very minor change.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then, yeah. If it's already, in code, we're more likely to, buff it or change it or whatever. But, making something new where that time can be better utilized on next gen, it just doesn't make sense from a standpoint. Any update on murder where you can hire a hitman similar to bodyguards feature would be great. You would have to load them up with bullets, and their kill shot should be anonymous. Would bring being an underground player way more fun, but it must cost substantially more than a normal kill. I mean, it's the same reason as what I gave before. It's it's a good idea. It would need some refining, but it's not something we want to be adding in to legacy. It's something that we can look into for next gen.
Yeah, it's a interesting idea.
It definitely gives it a more unknown. If you die and you're it's unknown, you're ooh, I've really upset someone.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on how we can make crews more integral part of the game? No real plus side to joining one currently, as you lose protection and the monetary gain from turf is minimal at best. We have some ideas that we're bringing into next gen. I don't believe that we're ready to share them yet, but we are changing how crews work.
Yeah, I mean, with crews, we're basically trying to get the foundation done in next gen, which is basically what there is in the game currently. And then we've got a whole expansion kind of planned for how crews will make more sense to be in. At the moment, crews, while you may lose protection, you also sort of don't. I don't want to reveal how murder works.
Players know that you can have crew protection via the crew ops.
Yeah. But in the formula, it's. Don't. I don't want to go into it too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're in a crew, for example, if you're in a crew and you're shooting at a crew, it may or may not require less bullets. Likewise, if you're outside of a crew and you're shooting outside of a crew, it might also require a little bit less.
Or a little bit more. Who knows? From Vaughn, we've got, can I beta test next gen? Earlier this year, Ian mentioned April 1st being a potential big day. My assumption was this was related to next gen and possibly needed beta testers. When it comes to time spent on CB, I feel like I put a lot of time in and would be a very good candidate. I'll let you deal with the whole beta applicant questions. We've got a few of them, so.
Yeah, some people have roles.
In the Discord.
Vaughn doesn't. Yeah. But yeah, we'll when we get around to it, we'll invite some people.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say when or whatever. You'll just have to wait until Monday.
Yeah. So I think for the main thing is, like, if we're going to bring people into the beta, well, it'd be considered alpha, really, then it's going to be invite only, and then also maybe like a few randoms as well, which we'll have a form for. So just keep an ear out. Madame Chi-Chi also said they want access. Do you see much use of the Hotwire tool? This is a quote. I do agree with this. It's way more expensive than the rest of the credit store. Reminds me of the counterfeiting. So I guess what they're asking is, do we have plans to make the Hotwire tool cheaper on the credits page? Like, I know that we've not looked at the numbers yet. It's still quite early days in terms of making a graph to see how it compares to previous rounds. But if we do find...
we'll look at it for this patch, but there probably won't be any changes because, yeah, it's new. And while we do have data behind it, it's like, it doesn't speak a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably have to wait until next month, maybe.
Yeah. We've got a question from Gatsby. What are the plans for the future of counterfeiting? A buff is certainly needed in the payout, as well as a credit option to protect the investment for Dead to Alive and stop raids. Long term, I envision counterfeiting could bring functions similar to a steel factory to the bullet factories, requiring players to travel to the cities to buy steel equivalent to continue the counterfeiting production.
That's kind of a cool idea, actually, because in next gen we are having much more of a focus on items. At the moment, all the items in there are kind of what's in the game currently, but we basically built the system so we can actually expand that. We can't currently expand it. I think Magpie mentioned something about items in his essay, but we can't expand it in Legacy. There's just too much shit. And it's just so painful to do. But in next gen, definitely we're going to be having more items. So if we bring counterfeiting back for next gen, then yeah, I think the whole supply to gain is actually a really, really cool idea.
Yep. And we've got a big question from Magpie. So I'll try summarize the questions. Bear with me, I'm finding the part.
Okay, there was the emails that were sent out to try and get players reinterested. How successful were they? And have you got any follow-up feedback? Have you learned anything that leads you to believe that you can be successful in increasing the player base when it comes to next gen? Yeah. I mean, the answer's kind of simple. We have got players reinterested, and we do feel we're confident in increasing the player base when it comes to next gen. And that primarily comes down to it being more accessible. There's going to be more reason to kind of play it. I guess it's not going to be as linear as create an account, rank up, shoot, and die, because that's kind of the gameplay loop at the moment, and it needs to be more interesting. And eventually we're going to have apps, so Android and iOS. And even before that happens, the entire game will be way more responsive.
Yeah.
In terms of fitting on the browser on your phone.
Yeah, there's a lot of complaints in like current legacy where like you have to go to landscape, but we're not going to have those issues in next gen because everything it just works. Like whatever size you make it, it's going to fit.
Yeah, and somebody pointed out that was it Nessie, I believe? They were like, "Oh, Crime's page looks shit," in not so many words. And yeah, we're still kind of playing with the mobile interfaces. We understand kind of what the players want. Zora has been a massive help in kind of helping out with the mobile side of things. And we keep refactoring it to make it more simple. Because as you saw in the screenshot, you do have to scroll to click everything, or tap everything in this case. Things are going to get progressively better. We basically designed it for desktop in a way while keeping it responsive. So some of the things will definitely need to change, some information be removed on mobile, etc. But yeah, I thought I'd just point that out.
regarding the email, we have some statistics. We sent out 2 campaigns, and these were only the emails that we collected over the course of the last round. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we can't use any emails. Like the old email databases where like, from round 1, for example, they used to exist, but they don't anymore because of, what's it called? GDPR?
They were lost.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I mean, I had to rebuild the database for when Mark hired me as a developer like 10 years ago.
Okay, fair dues.
So we didn't have the database at all.
But even if we did, also, we couldn't use them.
Wouldn't be able to,
yeah. So that's not a thing. Would love to. That would be like a great source of marketing. However, yeah. So we sent out over 2 campaigns. We sent out 685 emails. So half of that is how many people are per campaign. 40% of people opened them, which is good. We got 7% clicks, which is where like someone's like click the link. That doesn't necessarily mean that they've clicked the link to come to the game, because there's also links to our social medias. And I did see a couple of people did click those links. And then a whopping 1% unsubscribed, which, that's bound to happen if people aren't expecting the email and such. So email marketing is something obviously that we're going to keep doing. But to keep spam down, it's not going to be like an every week thing. It's just going to be like maybe an event comes up or a round's ending. In future, we do want to incentivize like, if you're a new player, use this code in this email chain. Sorry, excuse me. To like, get a bonus for joining from the email chain. As we go on and we grow, obviously we're going to get more emails, which will go into the email campaign either way. Can a reward be offered within these links to give returning players a benefit? Yeah, well, that goes in with what I just said, that like I basically want to utilize having different campaigns. So like the Facebook, if you sign up using a Facebook link, you'll get XYZ. But I think right now the only way to do it is via the code system that we have. So like, if you sign up and use code Discord, you get a little bonus. And then regarding early adopter, there has been thoughts about like obviously early adopter for next gen, allowing us to like get people on and gauge where interests lie. Have you ever reached out to any players who have returned after a sabbatical and asked for their feedback? I messaged a number of ex-players, and Shade has returned to the casino holder stats. Could the returning players' feedback give suggestions and potentially an opportunity to form a completely different point of view? As I said yesterday in general of the Discord, I have talked in private to a lot of players, whether they be players that have been playing all this time or whether that be players that have recently returned to the game. And I take all this feedback in, and honestly, it is genuinely invaluable. And it really does mean a lot to me when people are going to give me the time and let me listen to them and share their views. I did also talk to Shade because, he's a very known person within the world of CrimeBloc. And I think Bessie re-signed up too. So it's always nice getting that different point of view from different player base, essentially. Just chime in if you want to add or take anything away, Ian.
For sure.
Given how this round has progressed so far, could this be used as a tester to help balance the decisions that lead to next gen, i.e. a single-digit credit reward for certain actions, events that help players, such as lower drop rates on alt theft, the protection rackets, etc. I'm thinking of the balancing and credit action of counterfeiting, etc. if and when it's introduced. If you get the correct balance while adjusting here, then it's sorted for next gen. Do you want to cover this, Ian?
Yeah, no, we can't because everyone complains when we try and do it.
The moment we change anything, pitchforks, fire, screaming.
Yeah, I mean, I very much want to do this. It's why I reduced the item rates and things, because we want to find out how things fit together. Unfortunately, nobody else sees that. Or whether they do see it and just disagree. Yeah, so no, we can't balance in time for next gen. Because, yeah, people just complain. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, obviously we are taking things from Legacy that we have learned and we will apply them to next gen. Next gen isn't just going to be like a whole new set of rules and whole new world. It's going to be we're going to take the things that we have learned and apply it to CrimeBloc next gen. The next comment is still from Magpie. Yakov, just delete him. And now,
who is Yakov? I'm pretty sure he means Yazov, right?
The detective that gives you the bullet calculator.
Yeah, Yazov.
Yeah.
So fun story. Completely agree with you. I think we should just delete him. And I did. And guess what happened? Yeah, that's right. People complained and they wanted him back.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I want murder to be way more of a guessing game rather than people just using their own bullet calcs that they found in the round before, because where's the fun in that?
It's one of the reasons why we do change how much bullets you need to shoot every round. So, because I remember it used to be the same every round, and there's a bullet calculator on CB help, sorry, and everyone always knew. The detective was added as a kind of middle ground. It doesn't tell you exactly how many bullets you need. It might be 10 mil over or 10 mil under. Obviously not 10 mil because you're not shooting that amount of bullets, but he gives you a rough estimate. And if you're a hitman, he gives you a better estimate. Maybe, well, Vaughn says here, the guy who lies to you for 10 mil. So, you know, maybe an issue there is the cost of him is too much.
The amount of times people have messaged me and been like, "Oh yeah, the detective doesn't work," and I look at how many they shot, and it's 1,000 or 2,000 under what they actually needed.
Yeah,
but yeah. The whole running thing was basically shoot 5 to 10% more than what he says, and that's still pretty much true. Like if you shoot more, like if you shoot 10% more, it's gonna kill them. You shot 10k over a figure he gave you, Vaughn.
But if the figure was 150k, 10k isn't 10% more. I'm just being devil's advocate. We'll look into him, but like it's one of those things where like we change it a little bit, someone's gonna be pissed off. But I have heard outcries from people stating that they don't like him, period. It's completely fine.
Same.
You don't have to like him. Not everything in the game is designed to be for everyone. Sometimes, you know, the noob players need a little bit of help. Sometimes the veteran players need a little bit of help. And we've just got to find things that help both sides. OCs. They probably need a better reward, to be honest. I can see a few have mentioned this. Yeah, this is a thing that has constantly been like mentioned in the Discord, on DMs to me. Currently, OCs are pretty pap, and smuggling OCs used to be like really good for money, or like once or twice a week be really good for money, but they were nerfed because like they just got ridiculous and they were like inflating the economy. I know personally that like there are changes that I want to make. I haven't discussed them with Ian yet because we've been focusing on something else at the moment. But Ian, what's your thoughts on OCs?
OCs are going to completely change in next gen.
Okay. What about
completely?
No, I know. Well, yeah, they're like that. Next gen OCs are going to be, well, in my opinion, I think the best way to describe OCs and next gen is that they're organized crimes, rather than how they currently are, where it's I invited 3 of my mates and I pressed the commit button, and that was the most amount of organization that I've ever done.
Yeah, you're actually gonna need to use a little bit of brain. There's going to be a little bit of figuring out, a little bit of jigsaw puzzling.
Yep. I'm quite excited for it, to be fair.
Yeah, it's going to take I think it'll take a while before people realize kind of what's meta, what the best setup is, and how to do it, because there are so many combinations.
Mm-hmm. But for legacy OCs, I'm gonna have a word with Ian and see if we can like balance out some few things. But like I said, like nothing's gonna drastically change. You know, just a little percentage more here, over there, a little bit over there, some salt, some pepper. Murder. I don't think that it's an issue if the player base increased. However, it remains low player base. Then I'm not sure how to fix it. Maybe Yakov and or Yazov and adjust the kill formula. Include if you're in a crew controlled city that you have to be part of it. Increase
the bullets needed by X% if your crew controls the city, basically.
Okay. Do you want to take this, Ian?
I think it's a cool idea. There's a few other games that do the same kind of idea.
Yeah. But like again, it falls into the category of like it's not something we want to put time into at the moment.
No, because doing that would take quite a bit of time.
Yeah. So I'm just sending a message.
How long do you expect this round to last? And do you have updated to timeline of next gen? Granted, there won't be a specific date, but an expectation shared. Is the insecurity around what happens next and when impacting the longevity of people being active? I'd guess this may be linked to the suicides by backfire. So the suicides by backfire is because I think somebody found an issue that was overlooked. Basically, if you were on the hit list and you shot somebody and you got caught in backfire, then you would get that hit list reward. That will be fixed in the next patch. How long do we expect this round to last? I don't know. That's a pretty open-ended question. We never set a time limit for a round. We never think, oh, okay, maybe let's do it for 3 months or 6 months or 10 months. It's basically when we feel the time comes and things are just quiet and people generally want a reset.
Like, the question that we asked ourselves is like, is the round spent, really? You know, is it stagnant? Is it stale? Or is the economy absolutely ruined? Or is there just a conglomerate that is constantly just like they've won the round, basically? There's a couple of things.
Yep. It would be good if we had kind of a criteria for it. For example, if a crew controls X amount of cities, or something. I haven't really put a huge amount of thought into it. We are thinking about it for next gen, though, whether rounds should be a thing or whether it should be perpetual.
Yeah. Next, no. Where are we?
Chaos period.
Yeah. Chaos period isn't really chaos. So I completely agree with you. So I, sorry, for the sake of the podcast, Magpie is saying that chaos period isn't really chaos due to the fact of, like, in the past, in the good old days, the chaos period, you just like you'd rank up to Pat in a day. You'd get given a stupid amount of bullets. It was crazy. It was mental. It was chaos. And currently, what we give as a chaos period isn't what others would consider a chaos period. So we hear you. And next chaos period, I will personally ensure that the expectations for a chaos period are met. And if not, then you can burn me at the
Blame
stake.
Tom.
Yeah. Apparently, we owe someone's kid a bedtime story. Told him one less shit today.
If I told your kid a bedtime story, I don't think he'd sleep.
Moving on.
Next gen. Whenever testing is finished, what are the plans? Do you intend to just go live after X players have been given access and pointed out things to be fixed? Or can you consider open testing, i.e. open next gen for 3 weeks, let the players test rather than a select group, feed in any issues, suggestions, etc., and then use this info to test where possible on this round of Legacy? Jesus Christ. This writing is so difficult to read. Fix the issues, then go live for the actual round. We haven't really come to a conclusion about that. We will be having a testing period, alpha, beta, whatever you want to call it, at some point. Nearly said one. And then depending on how that goes, depends on the future. So we're not really putting anything set in stone.
Yeah.
Twofold to that. One, the game is released good to go and doesn't need balancing, adjustments, helping the player engagement. And two, no one has an advantage going into a new game when those chosen to test will have a clear advantage. But this means there needs to be an increase in the player base prior to the release rather than an influx of people checking it out because it's new and then falling by the wayside. Okay, that's a long paragraph. Where do we start with it? So when we release it in testing, it's not going to be balanced. I feel that's pretty straightforward. Like, things will always need to change.
Yeah. The next gen is going to be a lot more dynamic, I would say. It's like
no one has
Go on.
No one has an advantage going into the new game when those chosen to test will have a clear advantage. I mean, that's kind of a given. Like, people are always going to have some sort of an advantage if they're testing versus people that don't want to test or don't take part in it. But yeah, I don't really know how to solve that. Like, if we have an open testing period, then I feel it ruins various aspects of the game.
Yeah, like if we feel like the game's ready for public eye, like a lot of issues that lie with having open testing, like relates to like what was it on Steam? It was like Greenlight or Greenlit or something, and these games would come on and be absolutely so bad because they weren't ready for public eye. But the public eye will only ever remember that first time, the first time that game was released. And it's very hard to break that. There's very few games that have broken that, like No Man's Sky, for example. They have broken that, but there are a large majority of people who still see No Man's Sky as a failed game. When if you actually play it now, it's a completely different game because they've worked with it. So I don't want to be in an issue where we release next gen, where it's been nearly finished, even as like, you know, an open beta or anything like that, and people are like, yeah, this ain't it, you know. So I think Battlefield 19. No, what's the newest Battlefield? 20.
You could just say Cyberpunk, as Vaughn pointed out.
Yeah,
That was awful on release.
Cyberpunk, but like the newest Battlefield game had a beta, and a lot of people, myself included, were like, "Well, surely it's going to be better than this, right? Because it's a beta. You know, there are going to be bugs," and it wasn't. So we are kind of at the mercy of like other gaming companies on how they've done stuff, and we need to learn from their mistakes. And so this, personally, I don't want a open beta where everything's not had the polish that we need. Obviously, there's going to be balancing changes and stuff like that. So even if people have been given access, like it's still going to be different when they go into the live game. So you shouldn't need to be concerned with people having an advantage. The only advantage that they might have is knowing where stuff is, because obviously the layout is going to look different.
Yeah. And then your last point is building player trust in fairness and no cheating, scripting, etc. Outline that so people sell the brand and know it's going to be better than it has been, without giving too much info as to how to catch the little buggers. But the trust in the system being rebuilt will go a long way to longevity in new and rejoining player base. So here's the fun thing about games. Cheaters will always cheat.
Yeah.
And there's no way around this. We can build up various anti-cheats and detections and stuff, but at the end of the day, and I've said this in another podcast, if people want to cheat, they'll cheat.
It's cat and mouse, isn't it?
It doesn't matter what game you have. It sucks, but there isn't just an end to it. We can only do so much.
Exactly. And like regarding trust, you know, the trust is gained. It's never given or expected. And we hope that, you know, since In and I have been leading this project, we hope that you do look at us and you do trust us with these bans, because we have been banning people and we do ban people, and we need to realize, we need to understand that not every ban you're going to see. Like, I think now we've updated it so like you can't even see when players are banned on their profiles. Just to avoid like, you know, issues, conflict, stuff like that. So
because it really does bring out so much conflict. Like when we had the leaderboards, people wouldn't believe that people rank legitly. Every day we were getting tons of people complaining. It's like, oh, this guy's cheating, this guy's cheating. There's literally no proof behind the accusations. So yeah, when you look at somebody's profile, it will just be offline. You won't see who's banned and who's not.
So, reaffirming, we do ban people. And I hope that you do trust us with that. I hope that you understand that we care enough about the game that the last thing we want are people cheating. So yeah, it's just something to think about when you're playing the game. I mean, this round so far, there's not been many accusations flying around, and I like to think that's because Ian and I found some people. I'm being careful with my words. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's all good.
last thing.
Nope. Magpie is done. His essay has been answered. It took us 49 minutes, but we got there.
I agree with better OC payouts from Gatsby. It'd be better. It'd be awesome to run a diamond heist with getting a special car with addition to cash, so like different payouts. Just refresh. Again, it's like we could. I'm gonna look at the OCs, KOCs, DOCs, and smuggle OCs, and see how like we can buff them a little bit, because I'm hearing that the overall consensus is that people aren't happy with OCs and they'd rather just do robberies. And yes, that's it. We do have a question in Discord from G. Is it always the same players you ask opinions and to test? I'm going to say no, personally. Like, I feel like for me personally, like, CrimeBloc isn't my only job. I work other places. So if people message me and like we talk in the Discord and such, like, or even CMs in game, I'll discuss it. I'll hear them out. So, and that happens more often than you'd probably think, to be fair. And so if you do have some opinions, G, message me either in game or on Discord, and I'm happy to hear you out. With testing, like, I think we only have one person at the moment helping with testing.
We got like 5 or 6.
Oh, okay. One active one. I don't know. Either way. Yeah. So just yeah. Send us a message and we'll have a discussion regarding CrimeBloc. From Kathos or Kathos. Any thought of reducing timer on OCs and hijack? Personally, I want to get rid of hijacks because they're buggy. They're really, really buggy. Regarding timers on OCs, I remember someone mentioning how they would like to see OC timers reduced, but not enough where like they're reduced where you can do 3 in one day, but reduced where you don't need to have a perfect sleep schedule to get 2 in one day. Which I'm on board for that, but I don't know the implications of reducing OC timers. Because it's something that we've always mentioned is you change one thing on this code that you might think is fine to change, but has never been changed, and it'll break 1,000 other things. What are your thoughts on the OC and hijack timers, Ian?
I agree with hijack. It needs to be completely rethought out from the ground up. It's also a feature that's probably the less used feature in the game. Mainly because everything else is better and it's just a waste of time currently. There's no real benefit to doing hijacks, in my opinion.
Other than sending us a help desk ticket saying it's bugged out.
Yeah.
Vaughn, I assume your question is that you changed it to OC, never mind. Robbery at OC before bed. 10-hour OC maybe. You could do a robbery OC to start the day, robbery and lunch, robbery at OC before. I'm struggling to read there, mate. Sorry. But no, I agree that the timers could change to fit more into people's days. You can, pardon you. You can perhaps
Sorry, I didn't realize that was coming.
It's all great. You can perhaps build it so that you can stack one OC cooldown, make it easier to coordinate. What about my smuggling idea of having a good smuggle run every day that changes every 4 hours?
Huh?
How
You want to smuggle?
Oh, do you mean like so every 4 hours the
You want the
smuggle
smuggles to
routes
change every 4 hours?
You guys struggle to keep up with once a day. um
4 hours would be crazy.
Yeah. Unless like we spoon fed the information to you, like it'd be hard to keep up with. But that being said, like I said, I want to buff the OCs, and smuggle OCs will be part of that. I remember the days when there was a good smuggle run and the forums went crazy. People went crazy. They were just like, "Who's smuggling? Let's go. We need to make a smuggle OC. Reset with credits. I don't care. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's make money. We're here to make money." And I want that to come back. I feel like we have nerfed smuggling way too much, and it's kind of lost its pizzazz.
Yeah, because everyone just did smuggles instead of diamonds and kidnaps, and it made it worthless.
Yeah. So we need to find a balance between the two. Magpie, I see that you've messaged me, but I'm screen recording my screen, so if it's a public thing, put it in the side chat. You might not even know about the side chat now that I think about it. Or public chat. But we'll have to wrap up soon because I have a meeting in 4 minutes. Yeah, for those who don't know, in the podcast room that is like a chat area. So, if you got any last minute questions, we can discuss them really quick. If you do smuggle, no XP.
Honestly, that's actually a kind of good idea.
Yeah, like you get the money, but you don't get the XP.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I'm gonna check what
Because you get, yeah, maybe they slightly buff smuggle and then completely remove the XP. Yeah, that's a really good shout. I know I keep going on about next gen, but the OC rewards will be quite different. I mean, there'll be money and XP, but you'll also have like various items that you'll be able to steal, which you'll then be able to use for some very interesting features in the future. We also don't have the saddle button. It makes getting the BPs impossible. I don't understand what that means.
We also don't have a sell or button. It makes getting the block points impossible, doesn't it? Oh, okay. So there's a achievement for making over a certain amount in one smuggle style. And if you have multiple smuggling items that might equal that achievement, then what I'm saying is currently it's impossible to get that achievement because there's not a good enough smuggling. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is fair. Review achievements and reset operations button.
Achievements have been completely redone in next gen. They're already kind of in the game.
And they have nice tiers as well.
Yeah, so there's going to be like common, uncommon, rare, and what's the last one?
Epic?
Hang on. Yeah. Common, uncommon, rare, and epic. So you'll actually have... There'll be so many more achievements. I still need to do the UI for it, but the functionality is still there.
All right. I'm gonna end it there because I do have to go to my meeting. Yeah.
I can carry on for a little bit if anyone has any more questions.
Yeah, it just won't be in the podcast on Spotify or YouTube. But All right. Well, I'm going to get off. I'm going to finish the podcast episode. If people still want to ask questions, then obviously they can. It just won't be for the people who weren't here. And I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for coming, Ian. And thank everyone else for coming too. And also, thank you for your amazing questions. We do care about the community and we do like these conversations. So, like, we do like this feedback. And when obviously it's given nicely.
Yeah, it's the constructive feedback that's the best. If you're just going to be toxic and just scream at people, such as somebody in the Discord yesterday, like trying to have a discussion and some people are just incapable of it.
Yeah. All right. And thank you all for listening.
Yep. Thank you very much.